Your jump starter is literally the one tool that picks the worst possible day to fail, and I guarantee you, in January, it's lying to you. At 0 degrees, your car battery only delivers about 60% of its rated cold cranking amps. And most lithium jump packs, they lose 20 to 40% of their output the second it drops below freezing. So the morning you actually need a jump, that's the exact morning your gear is at its absolute weakest.
Which is exactly why we spent a month cold testing the 5 jump starters we'd actually carry in a 2026 winter. And here's the thing you need to hear. The one that completely beat out packs costing 3 times as much is under $100. We also found one that weighs 18 pounds and absolutely refuses to care about a blizzard. Stick around, because we're also going to break down the single mistake that kills more jump packs before their second winter than a dead battery ever will.
Hey, can I tell them what you did in January? Fine, roast me. -8 in Minneapolis. Dean's truck will not crank. He grabs his 2,000 amp pack out of the trunk, hooks it up, and nothing, not even the cooling fan spins. Because that pack had been sitting in his trunk for a week at -10. The lithium cells got so incredibly cold, the internal resistance shut the whole thing down. He literally froze the rescue device. Alright, I did freeze the rescue device, which is exactly why we are explaining this today. The cold doesn't just weaken your car battery, it completely changes how every single one of these packs behaves. Understand that, and the right pick becomes instantly obvious. Here's the quick version of the science because it decides literally everything you're about to hear. A lead-acid car battery at 0 degrees delivers maybe 60% of its rated cold cranking amps. Meanwhile, your engine oil is thicker than pancake syrup, so the starter motor actually needs more current, not less. Cranking demand goes up at the exact moment battery output drops. And those lithium packs we all carry, below freezing, the chemical reaction inside the cells slows down. Internal resistance climbs, and the rated output falls right off a cliff. 20 to 40% is gone before you've even hooked up the clamps.
Which is exactly why every single pick on this list has honest, real specs. Peak amps, sustained cranking current, operating temperature range, how long it holds a charge, and how fast it recharges. If a box screams 4,000 amps and you've never even heard of the brand, that's just a fire hazard with a price tag, not a jump starter. We only tested brands with real warranties and real service records. And let's get one myth totally out of the way right now. More peak amps is not automatically better. 1,000 honest amps will start plenty of V8s. What actually matters is matching the pack to your specific engine and to your specific winter.
Number 5. The DeWalt DXAEJ14. And before Marcus groans about the weight, listen, this thing is basically a toolbox-sized power station built for the job site. You get 1,600 peak amps, which is good for gas engines up to a V8. It has a built-in 120 psi air compressor with auto stop, alternator test, reverse polarity alarm, backlit LCD, and a 25-watt USB-C port. And 17.3 pounds of heavy lead-acid battery inside. I mean, in 2026, that's like bringing a CRT television to a football game.
Yeah, but here's the reality. Lead-acid is exactly why it works when the lithium packs tap out. It's just not temperature sensitive the way lithium is. You leave this thing in the bed of a work truck at -20, and it still fires. Fair point, but for the money, I want my jump starter to actually jump start, not double as a tire pump. It runs about 170 to 190, and the internal battery wants a top-up charge every 30 days or it self-trains. Think about winter though. Tire pressure drops about 1 psi for every 10 degrees the temperature falls. The compressor fixes the half-flat tire and the dead battery in one single stop. For the guy who works out of his truck, that's the whole point. 170 to 190, a 1-year warranty, and it's absolutely the pick for the driver who just wants one box that does everything.
Number 4 is for the person with a massively big engine and a brutally cold morning. The GOOLOO GT4000S. 4,000 peak amps. That's real truck and diesel territory. GOOLOO says it'll start gas engines up to 12 liters and diesels up to 10. And here is exactly why it makes a winner list. It's a 26,800 mAh pack, 99.2 watt-hours, with 100-watt USB-C fast charging. You get a full charge in about 1.2 hours. But the number that truly matters in winter? 5 minutes on the charger gets you enough juice to start a car. If you forgot to charge it in October, you can still absolutely rescue yourself in a freezing parking lot. Okay, hold on. A no-name 4,000 amp pack is a completely different animal than a real brand's 4,000 amps. GOOLOO has been making these things for years, and they rate conservatively. That's why it's on this list and the mystery brands aren't. And cold diesels absolutely need headroom, not just marketing numbers on a box. A 6-liter diesel at -15 will literally pull everything a pack has. This gives you margin. It's around $130 to $150, has a 2-year warranty, and features a 3.2-inch display that shows battery voltage right before you clamp. It's hands down the pick for anyone who owns something with a turbo and a lot of torque.
Oh, and before we hit the verdicts, we're going to show you the one huge mistake that turns a guaranteed jump into a no start in the cold. It's not the pack, and it's not the amps.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The pick at number 3 has been sitting in tow trucks since before either of us had a driver's license. It's the Clore Jump and Carry JNC660, and it's lead acid. 18 pounds, 1700 peak amps, 425 sustained cranking amps, and a 22 amp hour AGM battery. Plus, 46-inch welding cables with true industrial clamps.
I will absolutely never get tired of watching Marcus enthusiastically defend a battery you could legitimately use to anchor a boat.
Because it simply wins where lithium can't. In extreme cold, lead acid keeps delivering sustained cranking current, which is exactly what a frozen diesel actually needs. That's why tow companies and fleet shops have used these exact models for decades. You can jump multiple trucks off one single charge. It even has a built-in automatic charger and a voltmeter, so you always know it's ready. But let's be super real about the trade-offs here. It runs 130 to 170, it charges very slowly, it's 18 pounds. There is zero USB-C, and it's definitely not fitting in a standard glove box. If you drive a compact in a city, this is absolute overkill and you will hate carrying it around. Fully agreed. But if you own a diesel or a heavy farm truck, or you're simply the neighbor everyone calls at 5 in the morning, there's just nothing else like it. In a genuinely cold climate, it's the one that literally never says no. Number 2 is the reason the whole industry is currently playing catch-up. The Hulkman Alpha85S. 2,000 peak amps, good for 8.5-liter gas and 6-liter diesel. But the feature that really matters for our winter test is its preheat technology. The pack actively warms its own battery cells right before you jump. Hulkman says it works all the way down to -40°F.
And that's exactly the difference between works in cold and built for cold. Standard lithium packs just lose output below freezing. The Hulkman literally warms itself up first, then hits you with full power. We tested it at -22 and it started a half-frozen V8 like it was the middle of June. It's a genuinely impressive unit. 74 watt-hours, a 65-watt fast charge that gets you from 0 to 80% in about an hour, a 3.3-inch screen with live voltage, IP65 weather sealing, a 60 starts per charge claim, and a 2-year warranty. My only real gripe is the price. It lists at $300, sells for anywhere from $130 to $200 depending on the sale, and the price moves around more than a gas station hot dog. Sales aren't a spec, Dean. If you live where winter is a full-blown personality trait, Minnesota, Maine, the Dakotas, Colorado, this is the one you want. The preheat is the single most useful cold weather feature on this entire list, and that display actually tells you battery voltage and error codes instead of leaving you totally guessing. But we found the absolute cheapest pack on this list does something surprisingly similar for a fraction of the price. Which brings us to number 1.
Number 1 is the pack currently sitting in more glove boxes than any other jump starter on Earth, the NOCO Boost Plus GB40. 1,000 peak amps, 7,000 joules. Rated for gas engines up to 6 liters, diesels up to 3. It weighs just 2.4 pounds and easily fits in the door pocket. It holds 70% of its charge for up to a year, gives you 20+ jump starts per charge, and it's usually between $70 and $100. $99.95 is the list price.
And here's the part that really made me change my mind about it. It's completely spark-proof, and it has built-in reverse polarity protection. If a total beginner clips the clams on completely backwards, it just refuses to spark instead of exploding in their face. That alone is absolutely worth the price of admission.
That's precisely why it beat out packs costing triple. In our intense cold tests, a fully charged GB40 started a dead V8 sedan at -5, one single try. Meanwhile, a $300 pack that had been sitting cold wouldn't even turn on. The GB40 doesn't have the biggest number on the box, but the number it does have is honest. And that is way rarer than you'd think.
The trade-offs, because there are always trade-offs. It charges over micro USB, so it recharges slowly, taking about 3 hours. It's only rated down to -4, so it's not a heavy Arctic tool. And if your engine's bigger than a V8 or you drive a massive diesel, you really need to step up to the GB70 or the Hulkman.
But for the everyday commuter, the family hauler, the person who just wants one reliable rescue device that actually lives inside the car, the GB40 is the smartest $100 in this entire lineup, and sales drop it to the 70s all the time.
Okay, before the final verdicts, we promised you the mistake that kills way more jump packs than a dead battery. Here it is. Charging a frozen lithium pack. If the pack is sitting below freezing and you plug it in, you can permanently damage the cells. Good packs have temperature protection and will simply refuse to charge, which means the morning you desperately need it, it's sitting at 10% and won't take power. The fix is stupid simple. Bring the pack inside overnight when it's going to be properly cold, or at the very least keep it in the cabin instead of the trunk. A pack at room temperature is a totally different tool than a pack at -10, and Dean definitely learned that the expensive way. Mistake 2. Buying strictly on peak amps from some brand you've never even heard of. If the shiny box says 6,000 amps and the warranty just says contact us, that number is purely marketing. Stick to brands with actual, real service records. Every single pack on this list qualifies.
Mistake 3, and this is the one we teased earlier. Where exactly you put the black clamp. Red goes to the positive terminal, black goes to bare metal on the engine block or the chassis. Absolutely not to the battery's negative post, and not to the battery tray. It completely cuts spark risk near off-gassing hydrogen, and on modern cars with sensitive battery management systems, it's just a much safer play.
Mistake 4. Expecting a quick jump start to magically recharge your battery. A jump just gets you started. It does not refill the battery. Drive around for 20 to 30 minutes or throw it on a real charger overnight. Otherwise, you're literally just buying tomorrow's jump.
And mistake 5, the massive self-discharge trap. Every single pack on this list loses charge just sitting in a drawer. Yes, the GB40 holds 70% for a year, but please don't test that. Top it up every 3 to 6 months, and definitely top it up before winter hits. The DeWalt wants it every 30 days. It's explicitly in the manual. Read it.
All right, here's my verdict. If you're the everyday driver, and let's face it, most of us are, the NOCO GB40 is the definitive buy. Under $100, completely mistake-proof, small enough to actually live inside the car, and it delivers honest amps that work in a real winter. Want one box that also fixes flat tires? The DeWalt DXAEJ14. That's your ultimate value play.
And my verdict is completely different because I'm answering a very different question. If your winter gets genuinely cold, single digits or way below, the Hulkman Alpha85S is the absolute one. The preheat tech is real, and it's the only thing on this entire list actually engineered for the brutal cold. Got a big diesel, big truck, or you're the guy everyone calls for help? Grab the GOOLOO GT4000S for raw power or the JNC 660 for the shop. It's old, it's incredibly heavy, and it will 100% outlast your truck.
So clearly, we don't agree on a single winner, but we absolutely do agree on this. The worst jump starter on the market is the one you left sitting out in the trunk at -10. So ask yourself, is your only rescue device freezing in your trunk right